Hello and welcome to Arsenal Above All. Arsenal through to the fourth round of the FA Cup after dispatching Portsmouth quite comfortably in the end after mental first 3 minutes. I don't know if you obviously we all saw it. I think Mikel Arteta's face after the first 3 minutes and through the most of that first half. I'm glad I weren't one of those players in there getting the dressing down at half time for sure. But thanks for joining us again tonight. I've got the Arsenal Above All Crockett and Tubbs. I won't tell you which one's which, but I've got Brian Haley with me. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Thank you very much. Thank you for having us on.
Good stuff. Thanks for coming on as always. And I've also got Nick. He's also known as the Reverend, the Arsenal Reverend as well. Nick, how you doing, mate? Good to see you.
Very, very well, thank you, and glad to be among such good company discussing the club we love.
Fantastic stuff. Thanks, gents, for joining me tonight. So let's get into it. Arsenal through to the fourth round, and we obviously found out, just a while ago that we have Wigan at home. I think it's going to be played on Valentine's weekend, which the missus isn't happy about. Me out of trouble on that one. But yes, Wigan, nice, comfortable. Hopefully, a possibility for Arteta to make some more rotation and obviously progress through to the next round. But of course, in regards to what happened yesterday, 10 changes, Nick, and it was very much what we kind of asked for him to show trust in the squad that he's got. Do you think after obviously that first half, I don't think he had much trust in them, in some of them, that what was going on? But what was your thoughts on just the way we opened up that game? Because we kind of went against everything that we should do in a game like that against a team, lower, from the lower echelons of the league. I think
anybody that has played football knows when you go to, Fratton Park is Fratton Park. It's an old-fashioned ground, isn't it? It's wet. It's not the perfect pitch. You keep it simple. You go out there, you establish yourself, and you just keep it simple. That's your job. That's your mission. And I just felt like the passing around was a bit helter-skelter. What we were trying to do our normal Premier League, round the back, that sort of stuff. I think you've just got to go. They're going to be physical. They're going to try and get among you for the first half. You've got to establish yourself. show your class in the second half, but show your physicality in the first. And I just felt, mate, it was almost like nobody had gave them the brief and they walked out there and it was just like, full kit, nice and shiny. Hey, we're from the Premier League. And it was just like, no, they're not interested in that. They're going to come at you. And it was just like we were caught unaware, It was like, oh, what? You're actually going to play us? Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy, right? Because, again, I'll mention it again, Brian. I think Arteta's face throughout that first half was quite funny in terms of he just looked like, hang on a second, these guys actually listened to what we've said, to these guys, throughout the whole, obviously, we wouldn't say the whole week, but I would say from the draw's been made, you're probably drumming it into them, saying, look, you need to, the first 20 minutes, you keep it quiet, you keep the ball, and then you kind of, let your quality come through, in the latter stages of the game, which we kind of worked out that way. But what was your thoughts on just how we started that game? I was really disappointed with Noni Madueke's defending for that first goal. That was absolutely ridiculous. I don't know what he was doing there. But what was your thoughts just on just how we opened up that game and gave them the momentum of the first couple of minutes, and obviously the way we came back straight after?
It's a frenetic start, and I think it was a traditional FA Cup third round tie against a lower league side, and you would expect that the Portsmouth, you have to give them a little bit of respect, because at the end of the day, the opportunity of playing the league leaders in the Premier League, an opportunity for them to basically kind of, put a spanner in a little bit of some works of the game. Make sure that the team that are basically out there are up for a game at the end of the day. And I think the first sort of 5 minutes or so, I think there was kind of rabbit in headlights kind of situation. I think for us, I think the speed of the game as well, how much they were wanting to press and so on. So I think it's a good test. It was a good test. And I think it was a good test for the 11 that started. It gave them a good run out, a good test. With game come that level, kind of different types of levels of sharpness as well, as we said around the kind of the physicalities as well. So I think you've got to give a little bit of credit to Portsmouth, but we was always going to take a little bit of time to establish ourselves in the game. It was never going to be something that we were going to be playing at our own pace from minute one. They were going to be in our faces. It's a third round tie. That's what happens. So it's just how we grew into it. To be fair, I'm kind of more frustrated probably at missed chances.
Yes. We'll go into that. We'll go into that. Obviously, Martinelli ended up with a hat trick, of course, but he could have ended up with maybe five. With the two chances that he had in the first half, hitting the post as well. I just wondered, obviously taking away Martinelli, was there anybody there that you kind of thought, Nick, didn't really take their chance? Those that maybe did. Obviously we've got to look ahead, obviously, to Wednesday in terms of what we do and how heavily we go in terms of rotation there and stuff. But was there anyone that sort of like you kind of disappointed in? Looked a bit out of front, rustiness maybe.
Yeah, I felt if we're going to win silverware, the 11 minus Gabby. So the 10 that went onto the pitch, they're going to be vital to us winning any silverware, because we're going to have to rely on them. How Arteta manages these individuals is going to be really important for their match readiness and how they come through. I felt I'm feeling for Miles that he looked lost at times. I'm not disappointed with him. He's an 18-year-old lad whose primary position is midfield. We're playing him as a left back, which is fine. He can do that. But we need to build this kid up again. He's our future, and we've got to put our arm around him, and we've got to look after him. And I just felt like the game passed him by largely. He looked better at the latter part of the second half, where he was inverted more into the midfield, but he looked really exposed out on the left flank to begin with. I felt Ethan grew into the game. I felt Ben showed his quality. Kepa could have parried that further wide, couldn't they?
Yeah.
I felt like if you was turning around and saying, right, I feel like where they ended up, it was positive having Kai back. It was a game of two halves for nearly the entire team.
Yeah.
But Ben White, Ethan are, and I felt like Norgard took the ball on the turn really nicely a couple of times. He done a nice thing, and I'm going to say it. I've been a bit critical of him. First half, at least, Marino was our best player.
Yeah, he was really, really good. I was really impressed with him in the six. I think when he came up, when I saw the lineup, and I thought, oh, he's playing six. I'm thinking, oh my god,
I was a bit worried too. Yeah,
but I thought he was really, really good. Really stood out. A lot of people wondering, he's captain ahead of Gabriel. That's
I think
a big shout as well. But both of the Gabriels actually, because they're part of the leadership group and everything. But he definitely gives us an option going forward, Brian, in the six when we're kind of worried of the minutes that Zubimendi's getting this season, especially. I think we've discussed it, that he's obviously never had a winter break before, and he's gone through all this winter, festive period with all these games. It's great when some things happen, which you weren't expecting, and it gives Arteta some food for thought. But what do you think of his performance? And was there anyone that you was kind of impressed with? I thought Ethan was quite tidy, quietly efficient. He didn't really, do anything spectacular, but I just thought he made a lot of good decisions and positive decisions when he had the ball. But what was your thoughts just on the way we sort of rallied, and anyone that stood out for you, Bri?
Yeah, I think Ethan was probably the one that actually picked up the pace of the game more than most. To be honest with you, he was prepared to pick the ball up and run at people. The turn of pace in there, which troubled Portsmouth. I think the Marino situation at six. Look, I'm not being disrespectful here, but if you can't have a tidy game at six in a FA Cup tie against Portsmouth,
when are you?
There's going to be questions generally asked in other games. To be honest with you,
yeah.
So, there was an expectation from me that he should be doing things that he did in game, like agree in some European games, but the Premier League is a slightly different kettle of fish, I think. I was a bit concerned with Eze as well. I don't know if that was just kind of, again, the pace of the game. There was at times he tried to, which was in the right way, was to try and slow the game down a little bit as well, to stop how frenetic it was at times. But I think where he needed to put a bit more pace into the game was in the final third area, and that's where he is actually slowing it down. So it was kind of a bit of a reverse. So that was a little bit of a concern from me. But I think generally speaking, that was the best 11 to put out to win the game. To be honest with you, to stop the likes of Declan Rice and Saka and others having more minutes than they needed to.
Yeah, it was really positive to that they didn't come on, because you normally see Arteta make changes and rest players, but then he ends up bringing them on and giving them a 20-minute run out when the game is kind of stretched or in jeopardy a little bit. And the fact that he didn't do it this time, maybe because we were winning quite comfortably. But yeah, I thought it was good. I think Mac, who will go into the comments, has mentioned something about the bench, about Victor Gyökeres sitting down in the game where he should be playing to build his confidence. He didn't play 1 minute of the game. Speaks volumes about how Arteta is feeling about trusting in him. Obviously, with Havertz coming on and looking really good, like some really good movement. Obviously, Arteta waxed lyrical about him afterwards. In about how good it was to have him back and his movement and everything. Whether you're saying that subliminally, sending subliminal shots to Gyökeres or not. And then obviously we've got this endless back and forth of people trying to justify what Gyökeres is doing, and some people saying that you've got journalists coming out saying he's the worst striker in the league with the data and stuff like that. So it's crazy. Obviously you've got to say Martinelli. Is he a number 9? Staring us right in the face at someone that can play there. I think Neil's in the chat, and he's always said that he's someone that we should try up front. you know, and making those runs off the shoulder, you know, and then that means you can add him with, you know, someone like Madueke and Saka in the side in the front three, which will be good to see. And obviously there you can see Madueke adjusting Martinelli's tag, which he had fitted after his crime which he committed against Bradley on Thursday. So it's really nice of him to help his mate out there. He didn't want to get in trouble with the old Bill. We've been in trouble so much with the officials this season, haven't we? And stuff. But yeah, good for him to make sure that's in place there. And I just thought it was obviously after what we saw on Saturday with Macclesfield, what they did. Against Palace, you're just kind of always weary, aren't you? You're thinking, Jesus Christ, they scored after 3 minutes. What the hell are we doing?
Going,
all the talks of you know, this squad and top, you know, going for all 4 trophies. You know, you're thinking, everyone's sharpening their knives, aren't they? But to be fair, we stepped it up. You know, we got through their press. To be fair, well played to Portsmouth. They pressed us all over the pitch. And unlike a lot of teams this season who are much better than them, they didn't rely on a low block. You know, they just wanted to play, and you know, so fair play to them. Let's go back into the chat. Someone's left a pretty random one. I don't know whether he's got the right channel here. He's lost he's missing his cat, so hopefully his cat is found. You know, so I don't know what that's about, but anyway, obviously, say hello back. He said that Neil thinks Victor could leave in the summer unless things change drastically. Always interesting. You don't know what could happen there. Depends on who we could get in, I guess. Marino, was great in the 6. This is Norgard for me, very strong, clever player, and the fact that he's playing centre back as well is a good shout. What about Ben White for you, Bri? I thought he looked good. I thought he looked really good. To be fact, when you think of the fact that on the right hand side he didn't really get much defensive help from from Noni.
From Madueke, no.
Yeah, Madueke. Yeah.
Left him in it a couple of times. What's your thoughts on him? There's been rumours about him maybe not being happy with his playing time and that he may be looking to, you know, guarantee that somewhere else. You're kind of hoping that, you know, as long as he can stay fit, it just gives us a great option, doesn't it? You know, go as far as we can.
Yeah. Oh, look, I think it's down to kind of Ben White's aspirations at the end of the day. Is there an aspiration of getting back into an England squad? Is one. You know, we all know, and it's very much public about Ben White and how he doesn't watch football when he's not playing. He's not really got that much of an interest basically in the game in itself, but he probably likes the environments that he's in, and it's kind of that kind of safeguard type of environment, you know, that homely environment, and I think, you know, I'm not going to turn around and say it's anything like a crossroads for him at this moment. I just think for him, it's what is the long-term aspiration? If the long-term aspiration is to get back into an England squad, then yes, he's going to have to play. He's going to have to go elsewhere and play. This isn't a question about that. If he feels happy with the game time that he's getting, the environment that he has at the club at this moment in time, and the possibility of winning things and still being a part of something, then he will probably stay. Look, we've also got to think, you know, Jury and Timber in particular will probably break. You know, we're not touching wood here, but at the end of the day, there's a likelihood is that there's going to be a spell that he may not necessarily play. It's just, you know, so he's got to be kind of ready in that sense. Do you know what I mean? And what a place to actually do that in as well. Do you know what I mean? Rather than no disrespect to kind of other footballers, you know, when you look at someone like Jack Grealish, for argument's sake, who's gone to Everton, he's not necessarily gone there and pulled up any trees himself.
Yeah.
And there's rumours that he may be going to 30 million there.
Yeah. He had a good start, didn't he? Grealish, so, you know, and then it all kind of went pear-shaped a little bit. I think he discovered the Merseyside nightlife or whatever it was, and the rest is history. But just Neil's popped in saying it's true, Brian, about Marino, but he can only do against what's in front of him, and he's not really featured in that position before. Yeah, true. He's. I just thought he's just really, really. Obviously, okay, you got to look at the opposition, but I just thought the way he went about it, he got really, close to people, got in some really good tackles, and was progressive in his passes, passing the ball forward really quickly. A lot. He played that shot that Martinelli should have scored on when he curled it. That was from Marino. That was a forward pass from him. So. That was he really impressed in that position. Neil saying I think Madueke is so good going forward. We created both corners, we led to both goals. It's just, but I think that penalty pretty much sums up Madueke. He does all the great work to get that penalty. Nick, he had that defender, on toast a little bit like Saka had Kirkes on toast in that first half on Thursday, and then he compounds it with that penalty miss. I mean. That's the thing with him. He's got 2 assists yesterday, but nothing in the Premier League yet. Nothing, no goals in the Premier League yet as well. Obviously, he got a goal in the Champions League and 2 goals in the Champions League. But yeah, do you think that's just once Arteta gets a bit more time on him? You look at what he done with Sterling in the past.
Yeah, I think with Madueke, on that first part of the season when Saka was out. Yeah, he was really good. He was really good. He was one of the positive aspects of our attack, taking on players. And actually, if you go through game by game, he should have had more assists if people were more clinical. Yeah, he put it on the plate for people, and they just didn't finish their dinner. So that would completely change the landscape of how his figures look. Really, I said to my son on the build-up, I said, if he comes out with some stupid run-up, he's going to miss it. I said he's going to slip and miss it. That's what I honestly said. I said he's going to slip and miss it. I don't like on that sort of ground. You pace it. You do a normal run up. You've picked your side before you can do your run up, and you just put it in. They're that good. You don't need to do all of this. Which way is the keeper going? Because the moment you've shortened your run, if that keeper's not done what you think he's going to do, your body tenses, and you are 90 times more likely to do what he did. The keeper was already going away. That was the thing. He sent the keeper completely the wrong way.
Yeah, that was an annoying thing as well. Yeah.
And it was just like, oh my gosh, fella. Just keep it simple sometimes. But I do think he is a key part for Gyökeres, I reckon, because of his ball carrying ability. The fact that he can carry the ball, it's just we have to look at how we put balls in the box for Gyökeres. And I think Havertz is potentially the missing key for Gyökeres. Just his movement and what he was doing. I think you said something about forward passes from Marino. And just back to both of you, I think one of our biggest problems at the moment is the speed and the quality of the forward pass into the final third. I feel like we've got, I've said before, Brian won't know, but from a chat, I was saying, for me, our system, we rotate and we have defenders in the final third on the ball when you want creative players. And I just feel like we need to be faster and more incisive with that ball, with creative players. There was a moment in the second half, Havertz was dancing nearly around the defender, looking at Odegaard, which way are you going to play it?
Yeah.
Odegaard didn't play it, he just didn't release it. And I'm going, fast. Oh! And I feel like that is one of our big issues. And I think Madueke ties into that. It's about how does this team play in the final third? What are we trying to do? And I think, what are we trying to do? I don't know.
No, I totally agree. It was interesting to see how often Odegaard was trying to find Havertz. He was picking him out a lot, and there's obviously the BFFs, aren't they? So there's that aspect of him, and he wants to find his mate and get him back into it. But it is something that's going to be sort of ongoing, isn't it? Like as the season goes on, as Max says, Havertz in first game was fantastic. He looks a million miles better than Victor. Yeah, I mean, it was some of the touches he made and some of the way he was linking things up. It was like, wow, that's just it was almost effortless from him. And I know you've got to look at the opposition. Obviously, he's come on with the game, pretty much won. But yeah, it was really impressive, Brian, to see him there. Is the argument that at the moment when we're in the we've just gone the turnaround of the season. We're going to be playing teams who maybe, in the league, let's say, they're going to need to maybe come out in certain aspects, because obviously, depending on where they are in the table, they may have to come out a little bit more to win games and stuff like that, be more on the front foot. Do you think that having, Gyökeres there, having that space to run into, maybe having Havertz alongside him in certain aspects, is that going to be the key to, to getting him to run into that space like he used to, obviously in Portugal? Or do you think that once Havertz is pretty much at full fitness, it's going to be pretty much him and maybe Jesus, maybe, and then Gyökeres? I mean, what, or is it just basically horses for courses, depending on? I think if we do play against low blocks now, I think the people that are going to break that is going to be someone like Havertz or Marino. It might sound funny, but I think because Marino can head the ball and he can the ball can stick to him, and he can link play. I think that they're the two options in a low block, especially at home. I don't think it works with Gyökeres at home in that circumstance, because the ball doesn't stick to him. He's not good at that. He's not particularly good in the air. I think we saw when we played Brentford, was it, when we won 2-0? Again, they came low block. How did we break through? It was a cross. Marino got on the end of it, and then just broke the game open. If it isn't a set piece, I think you need someone like that in attack, who's going to be able to make the difference. And I don't, and they don't need space behind them to run into as such. What's your thoughts on that? And do you think, after watching what he did yesterday and seeing what Havertz did, do you think he's maybe looking a bit worried? Especially, obviously, let's forget. I forgot Jesus' assist as well. Do you think Gyökeres is looking at maybe being third on the pecking order?
I think it's going to be horses for courses, as you said, Mike. I think the different oppositions that we're generally going to have for the second part of the season, as you quite rightly said, there are going to be people fighting for points. And you've got to look at the table at the moment as well. If you're looking from 14th to 6th, there's only probably 4 points, give or take. Yeah. So there's people battling for European places, and draws and stuff are not necessarily going to be good enough. So people are going to have to come out and play, and that's probably when we might see the best of Victor Gyökeres in those kind of situations. I think at the moment, as you said, the low block has caused a lot more of a problem. Are we asking him to be the centre forward, the number 9 that's got to hold the ball up and play other people in, or are we asking him to play on the shoulder of the last defender and run off? Well, to be brutally honest, when we are pinging the ball into his feet, he's not holding the ball up. That's a start-off point. Okay. When we do find the passes to run off the shoulder, we're not playing those passes. So he's stuck between a rock and a hard place in some aspects. Absolutely. So there's been a lot of criticism around him in that sense. But we've got what are we actually asking him to actually do?
Yeah. I think the system's making him look awkward.
Yeah. Are we asking him to be that number 9 around the 6-yard box, or around the an 18-yard box, and be the poacher in around there once we've created things? Are we asking him to come into play off him and bring other people in? That's what he looks like at this moment. He looks like a player basically has been kind of told to be a number 9, but actually not doing the job of a number 9 because we're asking him to do something else.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like at the moment.
I agree with that, because when you're looking at him, there are so many times he makes, like Havertz was skipping, he moved, like the ball was coming and he quickly done a little move, and his movement around the defence was so much better. But there are so many times when Gyökeres is making a little, and nothing from deeper from midfield is playing it. It's like there's been a couple of times he's gone off the pitch, like Zubimendi when he played that long ball in, was it what game was that? That was the game before, wasn't it? It might have been to Marino.
Timber, wasn't it?
Timber, that was one. Yeah. And he played that beautiful ball forward. And I swear Gyökeres must have been on the bench going, where's that been? Do you know what I mean? 1 minute. It was like the ball that Odegaard played through to Zubimendi when he was off the pitch. He must be like, guys, come on. Because every time he steps off onto the pitch, we start coming up with the sort of balls we should be playing him. And what is strange, I mean, Timber's what, 5'11"?
Yeah.
And we play I mean, Zubamendi's great at that sort of ball, by the way. And we play that sort of ball at a 5'11" player. But at the moment we've got a 6 foot something striker on there. Not interested, you know. Yeah. Strange.
It's I can only hope that as the season goes on and the games maybe become a little bit more stretched, and like I said, teams have to maybe open up a little bit and be on the front foot more, because there's points at stake and what have you. Then hopefully the rotation, whoever he picks, it will come off for him, because I think it's right. He is doing things that maybe he's instructed to do, maybe to occupy the centre backs, but at the same time, there's things that he could maybe just do. It's almost like he's marking centre backs rather than actually making runs away from them and getting away from them.
Yeah.
And it's like, and that's the annoying thing. And then when you see someone like Havertz come in and what Mourinho's done up front, you kind of think, well, you need to back up his ideas. And obviously, he didn't play yesterday, so he had a lot to think about and watch. And obviously, would have heard what Arteta said about him, Havertz yesterday. So it's going to be interesting to see how it pans out and how mentally he reacts when he does get a start again. It could be Wednesday. We'll talk about that in a minute. Let's just go back.
The last thing on Havertz, on Gyökeres though.
Yeah.
Did you see the interchange play between Eze and Odegaard when they were on the pitch together in the later on in the second half? Yeah. I was salivating. You start putting Havertz into that mix. That defense has to do something different. What does that create for Gyökeres? What he needs to do at that point, when you've got potentially 3 players like that on the pitch, is make a run and gamble. If they don't find you, they don't find you. That's on them. Stop being on your heels. You've got to start gambling at that near post. You've got to do something. And I think those 3 on the pitch is going to be a striker's dream at some point. And I do see him coming good.
Yeah. You're kind of hoping that we go on a goal scoring run like we did, was it not last season, the season before, where we were just scoring goals for fun and just like blitz teams. And it looks like, touch wood, we've got everybody back in terms of the attacking sense. The only injuries that we've got are Mosquera, right, I think, and Hincapié at the moment. So you're kind of hoping that, I think Mosquera's back on. I think he's doing pretty well. Still haven't said what's wrong with Hincapié yet. I don't know how bad that is. It sounds a bit ominous. They haven't said anything yet, which is a bit of a worry. But I think going forward, he's got so many options now. So let's see what happens. But I'll just go to Neil. He said his penalty was disgraceful. Yeah, it wasn't. He wasn't being professional there. He just slapped it. He should have just hit it in. Do all that stuff when the game's out of sight. If you want to. Max said Ronnie looked like he did in the dark days of Chelsea, arrogant, falling over like a broken deck chair for the penalty, and when he got it, it was so disrespectful and didn't so score. Yeah, I think with Noni, he does seem to play up to the crowd a bit. He likes it when he hears some people chipping at him. Brian, I think Brian's having technical problems. Let me just try and get him back in. You all right, Brian?
Yeah, sorry.
All right, no worries, man. Yeah, no worries. I think your connection's a bit like Thomas Frank's connection with the Tottenham fan base at the moment. But we won't talk about that. But I just think Noni kind of plays to the crowd a little bit, and I
don't mind that. I don't mind it, but I kind of think that he needs to get his head down. He needs to back it up, though, right?
Yeah, and I want to see, the old Thierry Henry serious face, no smile football. I want to see that on Wednesday, because when he went to played against Chelsea, when we drew with them, he was smiling and trying to have chats with guys. It's like that's not
read the room. Read the room. Yeah,
you got to come on and prove these guys that that you're who you are, sort of thing. And I hope if he start, I'm probably thinking he'll start Saka because he didn't play. at the weekend. So I'll imagine he'll start Saka. But if he does come on, he needs to come with his head screwed on, and not like it's Noni Madueke, testimonial or like Ballers League something. He needs to be serious. But let's say, go back into here. Yeah, as I said at the top, Noni was responsible for them scoring. Yeah, just really weak. Gave the ball away, and then he just didn't really make an effort to win the ball back. Victor will be given another season because he went on strike and didn't have a pre-season. Next season, if he's as bad, he will be on as much as Norgard. I'm surprised with Norgard because I think he's a decent player, and I'm surprised he's not had that much minutes.
I really like him.
Yeah, and the fact that when he plays, he's playing, in defence. Max said Havertz has to start holding the ball up and getting shots off even unfit. There's no comparison, and we'll be signing we'll be singing 6 million down the drain. Kai Havertz scores again. Yeah, hopefully. It'll be interesting. I don't think he won't. I don't think he'll start. He won't start Wednesday. I think it will be Gyökeres again because Jesus as well. I think they're probably looking at load as well for both of them. Neil saying, I will stand by what I've said for the last couple of weeks that Gyökeres isn't happy, then that must be affecting him. I can understand that. And whatever constructive criticism we may have for our beloved club, one thing that's a constant is we can always laugh at the Spurs looks. Yeah, we can always laugh at them. Yeah, I haven't played my mate yet, so I'll wait. I'll wait a bit. I won't do it. I won't break the glass yet for him to come on and do his little video, which we love. So let's look ahead to, obviously, before we go to look ahead to Wednesday, just a couple of flowers to Marley Salmon, 16 years old, the youngest Arsenal player in the FA Cup. There's so much good stuff about him being said about how composed he is. In the Saliba region, he's been mentored by Saliba as well, and he looked good. He put a couple of tackles in, looked really, really comfortable. It's crazy that he's 16 years old that he's playing like that and everything. And obviously that kind of goes into the news that broke today about Per Mertesacker leaving. What do you think of that, guys? I mean, I'll come to you both on that. But obviously, in his time at the head of the academy, it's been obviously there's been a number of players that have come through, and broken through. Obviously, Max Dowman, Miles, Ethan, Marley Simon, and there's one or two others as well. I think he's in midfielder Ife Ebe. I think his name is, quite tall. He looks really good. And there's a couple of others that I've forgotten. But what's your thoughts on that, guys? I mean, because there's been a couple of things on Twitter, people saying stuff about the fact that just the way we haven't progressed certain players in terms of generating sort of funds from some of the contracts that we've had. We've not been as efficient and as smooth as like maybe the way Man City do things in terms of the academy. What's your thoughts on that? Do you think it's just he's been there 8 years, Nick? Do you think it's something he maybe has not? We've heard obviously through Bobby, sometimes there's a bit of a headbutting in terms of the route, the pathway for some of the youngsters to get into the squad, into the first team and get some minutes. Do you think that it's something to do with that, or do you just think it's something that we'll probably find out in an Athletic article, maybe once he's gone?
He's, for me, has been a great servant of the club. His job is to provide Arteta with talent that can play the system, and I feel like he has done that. You look at players that are either in and around the Arsenal team or have gone elsewhere and are playing. There's a lot of talent out there who have left our club to break through to a route because they see an easier route to the first team. Thinking of both the lads that went to United, Obi Martin and Heaven. Yeah. I think hasn't he done his technical? He's done some sort of coaching, hasn't he?
For pro license.
Yeah, for another part, for another role. all I would say is there probably is a frustration because going way back to, I think it was Emery, when he was told, Arsenal were told you don't need to sign Pepe. You've got this young lad Saka, you just need to bring him through. And we went out and we signed Pepe. And I just think sometimes it gets more difficult for Arteta when you are competing against a City machine where you have to be perfect to bring talent in that could potentially make mistakes. We've got to be honest on that. It's very easy when you are 8th to 4th. You can take those risks and you can do that. It's very, very difficult. When you're right at the top and you have to be perfect. I think he's delivered to Arteta the talent. Has Arteta been a bit reticent to use it? Possibly. Would he be frustrated about Ethan and Miles? Maybe. But I just feel like he's been a fantastic servant, and thank you very much, really.
Yeah. You think, Brian?
Yeah, look, I can't disagree with that. I think the youth system in itself is a difficult system to navigate for any youngster coming through. There's only going to be so many that's going to come through. And what he's picked out as certainly justified. So we're looking at the likes of Ethan, we're looking at Max Dowman, we are looking at, even Bukayo, we're looking at Lewis Skelly, already we're naming kind of, 5, 6, now most academies would struggle to get them getting into a first team of sorts. Okay. And particularly where we are at this moment as well. There is, you have to be very, very unique and extremely, extremely talented. So what he's done, he's effectively has done his job. 8 years at the club to get those types of talents through, and he probably deserves the opportunity of moving on now and actually looking at something else to do. But yeah, the youth system in itself is what the trickiest system at the end of the day. Not everyone is going to make it, and you will be a gem. We're not going to don a side of 11, 20, 18, 19, 20-year-olds. That's just not realistic, and it's just not going to happen. We say Chelsea have got the youngest squad in the league. Yes, they have, but they've bought an Enzo Fernandez at 23, 24 for 100 and something million pounds. The same with Caicedo, and then they've obviously bought in kind of young talent now. Where is actually anybody that's come through their actual youth system, probably other than Reece James?
Yeah.
So he has done his job there, and and that's what we've got to be grateful for. We don't really need to be looking into the ins and outs of why he's left and what the potential issues may have been, why he's leaving. What he has left us is a legacy at the end of the day. And that legacy is those particular players who are now actually within and touching distance and in the squad.
Yeah.
And then you've got to think like Willock, Okonkwo, Amari Hutchinson. There's others. There's others that are out there. There's like 3 I'm not mentioning, but they're out there applying their trade. It's not always an Arsenal success, but it's a footballing career success. And we have got loads of youngsters that are out there applying their trade that have come from the Hale End.
Dan Ballard. Look at Dan Ballard.
Dan Ballard, perfect, mate. What
Yeah.
player he's looking. And it's just kind of a case of the other flip side of being as strong as we are. When you've got Saliba and Gabriel, if you're 18, 19, what does your options look like? And if you need to play football, and the only way you're going to get, because I don't feel like we use the loan system very well anymore. That's the only thing I'd say. It was like Amari Hutchinson that left us? And he went, and the move you would have said, well, that would normally be a loan move, but we've let you go. Do you know what I mean? I know he went to one club and then he hopped straight away, and it's like, well, we could have facilitated that via a loan. And I just think it's that maybe that's something we can do better. But without a doubt, you have a look at the Arsenal Hale End and what we've produced and who's out there applying their trade. It's an academy we can be proud of.
Yeah, absolutely. I think was it Hutchinson? He did go to Chelsea, and then
He went to Chelsea.
Went to Ipswich, didn't it? Went to Ipswich, and then obviously they went down with them, and then he's with Forest now. So yeah, was it Aidan Heaven as well? Who's playing for United. So you're right that the academy has produced. I think you're right as well, Brian. I think there's probably has been times where he's been a bit frustrated, as what you said as well, Nick, in terms of the times when he probably could have given them some minutes. There's been times where we've had dead rubbers in the Champions League or Europa League, and he's brought them out there. He's brought them out there, and they sat them down on the bench. But
Nathan Butler-Adoji,
he just doesn't. He doesn't give them like 10 minutes or whatever. So so there is that aspect of it, and I think maybe it was just timing as well. I think he's maybe he's been there 8 years. He obviously that's not including his time as a player as well. So he's been there a long time. Matt thinks it's something to do with Berta. Maybe he wants to get his own people in. But he's been amazing, and good luck to him as well. And Neil's just obviously saying he's done a great job. So a bit of a shock, but good luck to him. And like you said, he has left a legacy. He's brought through some amazing talent, and let's hope that they play a pivotal part in this special season as it's progressing. Obviously, part of that would be getting a win against Chelsea on Wednesday. What do you think, Brian, in terms of the lineup? Do you think after what we did yesterday, he's going to kind of go strong? So you're going to see the likes of obviously Declan Rice come back in, Saka, Zubimendi. It's going to be pretty much as strong as you can possibly be. I don't know whether he's going to trust anyone with the short turnaround to play him again, but do you think it's just going to be strong? Obviously, we play Forest Saturday evening. Sorry, I think it's a 5:30 kickoff. So what your thoughts on that first leg, especially with no Caicedo in that, and possibly no Palmer or
no Caicedo?
Yeah, he's suspended. He's suspended for the first leg. So it might be one or two. So what's your thoughts on that, Brian?
Look, it's the away leg first, isn't it? So you've got to go strong, as far as I'm concerned. Look, I don't think we're necessarily, if we come out there and with a 1-0, 2-0, 2-1 return, I'll be quite kind of happy with kind of how we may be able to look at the kind of the second leg to a certain degree. But I think we've got to go in there going strong. I think the game where we played and they played an hour with 10 men, that doesn't sit right with me. I think we've got to go there and basically show up this time and say, right, if that was a one-off, we'll allow you that one, but this is a semi-final. We're going to come there and we're going to make things very, very difficult for you, and very, very difficult for your fans, and very, very difficult for Liam Rosenior as well. And that's what the kind of the narrative basically should be. And we could ultimately go there and put the tie to bed in the opening leg as well if we wanted to. And that's what we should be looking to do as well. Agreed. So I would personally go strong. It's an opportunity of it's of getting to a final. Yes, it's 2 legs, but this, if we put this one to bed, then there's every chance of us getting there anyway. So I think we should go strong. The Forest game, just moving on to that very quickly. They're not in the best of form, and regardless of them being at home, they're not in the best of form at the moment. So your changes that you could ultimately make, you could probably make at least good 3 changes probably into a game like that against Forest. But we've got to go strong for the Chelsea game and worry about the Forest at the weekend. But we've got to stamp and leave a mark, because, as I said, it's leaving a bitter taste in my mouth, that display against 10 men for an hour.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think we all saw the narratives after that game, didn't we, Nick? With the the way they celebrated that. People were saying that they won that game, and they won. Their moral won the game, and all the stuff that came out afterwards that we couldn't beat a team, you know, then with 10 men, and that they were in a title race, and we're this and that, we're that, and obviously, and you know, Arteta likes to keep stuff like that, keep the receipts and everything, and I think you know, Brian's right. You know, after that performance wasn't a great performance, but we've got a perfect chance to put one on them. Do you think we go as strong as possible in that first leg as well? You know, I mean, that's even bringing someone like, you know, Raya back into the team.
Yeah.
Obviously, because you've got Kepa back against his old side. You know, he looked a bit shaky with that first goal that he scored.
I go Raya. I wouldn't be entertaining Kepa. I think they've just had a good rest, the first team. They've had a game off.
Yeah.
So technically, in my mind, they go strong for Chelsea. You go strong for Forest. You rest for Inter. You don't. It's a dead game. Even if we lose that game, we still stay top by goal difference. Then we play the bottom side in the Champions League last at home. So we're going to finish top as long as we don't get absolutely smashed at Inter. You rest the Inter game, and then you go into the United strong, and that's how I would play it. Mm-hmm. So you go strong, rest. Even though it's a Champions League game, I don't care about being the first team to be winning all your games in the group. That isn't a badge. It isn't a trophy. This is about a bigger picture at hand. Get the first leg done, because if you get that done right, as Brian was saying, you've got a second 90 minutes where you can maybe go out strong, then completely rotate off and give half a game off. And that's what we've got to do. Where so for me, the Inter game is the one that you rest. Because I think right. It's you take a draw there. You happily take a draw away to them, and then you finish off the job against Kiryat. You know, who are the team, like you said, team bottom of the table. Shouldn't be any problems in that regard. The only thing is you want to make sure, obviously, you finish in the top two, because you then get all of your runs in all the games and knockout at home, the second leg. So that's the only advantage. I still think 3 points to the bottom side, even if we just get 3 points in the remaining two games, because what we've done already, we still finish top two. I don't think anyone can catch us in the goal difference.
Okay, yeah. So that's even better then. So hopefully, like you said, he I'm sure he's looking ahead and looking at those games, run a game to make sure we go strong. Obviously, again, the next two games, and then the one that we need to go strong in, obviously back in the league again against United, who knows who they're gonna have back in the dugout at that point. Might be Alex Ferguson the way they're going at the moment. I don't know if they've announced that yet, but yeah, absolute joke club. It's absolutely ridiculous the way they're going on at the moment. But there we are. But yeah, thanks a lot, gents. I really appreciate your time tonight, Monday night, and I just hope that we, again, yesterday would have given Arteta, especially the second half, hopefully some of the trust issues that he's had, with the squad, some of them gone, and hopefully he'll realise that you can trust these guys to pull it out the bag and be professional and kill a team off in the second half, and I just hope that we can put a good performance in against Chelsea. Just make sure that we're in control. We're either in control or we're not out of it.
Absolutely.
Because I think the last year we were 2-0 down, weren't we? We lost the first leg 2-0, and it was pretty much, we had so many players, I think, injured at the time. We had a few people, and then it was kind of, we were in hiding to nothing, and the way it just panned out was horrible. So Neil saying all that matters is winning the CR records or secondary bonuses. Yeah, just win it. Yeah, first or second in the table, just win it. And Neil says, how are you feeling? Eyebrows should go strong against Inter, but I hope you see the sense. Yeah, because you kind of think Arteta, he really wants to make a point in the Champions League, and you kind of think he wants to go there and get a result, because we should have beat them last year. We should have lost. We shouldn't have lost at least, But again, we had I remember we created quite a few chances. We just couldn't score, and I think he probably thinks, "Oh, let's just put that on them and let's see." We've got a comment here. Thanks for your comment. What are your thoughts on Xabi's dismissal from Real Madrid? Player power, wasn't it? I think it was. He got done. I think he's. How many? I was looking at his record. I don't think he's lost that many games, but obviously,
it's 28 games involved and 20 wins apparently from the 28 games he was there.
Yeah,
that is just that's
player power, isn't it? The players don't want to play for him. Vinny Jr. and them, they just stopped playing for him, and that's crazy. That's crazy. I don't know what to say. What's your thoughts on that, Nick?
It's going to add to the summer madness of the managerial merry-go-round, isn't it? If it gets to that point, I think if Slot doesn't improve, a former Liverpool man, will he end up at Liverpool?
Yeah,
Pep's going, so you've got that sort of vacancy to fill. I don't know. And then if Arsenal finish potless, it's a lot. Just devil's advocate. Sorry, don't shoot me. But it's just there's a lot of things that could spin.
Yeah.
United installing a caretaker, I'm convinced for them that it would be Emery they go for, because Emery plays attacking football via the wings, and that's very United. You see how Villa are. I can see Emery being the perfect, a third time lucky at a big club, and I could see him doing a really solid job there. And I think maybe that's why they're waiting. Yeah, because it doesn't make sense why. Because practically any other club, being United, they could go and approach the manager and say, "We want you to come to United," and he'll pretty much drop whatever club, wouldn't he? So it's got to be somebody that's doing really well that they can't prize him away. Yeah, Emery kind of makes sense to me, because I just feel like his style of football is very United. Yeah. And then maybe Liverpool go Alonso. It's going to be very interesting. You're right. It is going to be a free for all. I think even like someone like Pochettino. I think it's going to end badly for the States. In the World Cup. So he's going to be up for grabs. Thomas Tuchel, he could be up. He could be, if it doesn't go well for England, if they don't win it, then he could be available. Glasner as well, looking like he's going to be available. Luis Enrique's already made thingy saying that he doesn't want to be at PSG anymore, and obviously Premier League he can get. Obviously he's getting paid. Not manager, I would not mind. The way that you're right. There's a lot of people, in the merry-go-round, and a lot of managers. There is. And
you got Xavi Hernandez as well in the mix as well. Yeah. So there's going to be a bit of a merry-go. Will be a merry-go-round. It's who fits in best where. They're talking about Glasner at Manchester United as well, playing the same system that Ruben Amorim basically plays. What difference is he going to get out of the players he's got there playing that system? That's not really going to happen as far as I'm concerned. It will be more like Unai Emery. They're going to look for a profile manager who has won things or is close to winning things, or who are there or thereabouts, and can structurally work with the players that effectively he's got. Because when you look at Emery's stock, the Villa side now to what the Villa side was 2 or 3 seasons ago, he had virtually not an awful lot to play with. No. So he's been a master of his own destination when it's come to the fact of getting Villa where they are now. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And you've got to think as well. I think as well, you've got to look at those players, those managers that we mentioned. How many of them will be, Real Madrid will be looking at, in the summer as well. And again, so it's not just the Premier League. So mental. It's going to be really interesting. If like you said, obviously, if Slot goes, if Arteta doesn't deliver, will he think, okay, that I've had enough, and which one of those would you want? So there's
Tottenham. Tottenham. Going from Ange. High line to using practically the exact same squad to go to a pragmatic Frank. Yeah, come on, guys. That's not going to happen overnight. That's 2 very different philosophies.
That's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah.
So it could be like 5 of the top. Well, if Villa then lost their manager, we're talking about 6 of the top 7 needing, or traditional top 7 needing new managers.
Then, if Tuchel goes, then there's going to be an
Yeah.
England vacancy,
Right.
and then who's gonna get that? Is that going to be Eddie Howe, which people are talking up? And that means Newcastle will need some. So
I
it's
know, weird. It could be mental, couldn't it? Game of Thrones sort of stuff.
And then if Brazil don't pull up any trees, Ancelotti.
There we go. Yeah. It could be the biggest managerial move in.
It's going to
really
be
could
crazy.
be.
It's going to be absolutely crazy. Yeah, and that's not even talking about like clubs like West Ham and stuff like that,
Right.
who are probably going to, well, they likely will probably be in the Championship, at that point. So it's going to be difficult for them to get someone quite a big name there. But no, it's a good question. No, thanks for that.
Brilliant question.
Thanks so much for everyone for watching tonight. Really appreciate it. Neil's asked simple question: are we beating the Chavs?
Yes.
I'll say
Over
yes.
2 legs, I think yes.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And Neil saying, so 30 years we've had 3 managers, and how many Chelsea had in Arteta's reign? I think it's 12 or something like that. I think he's
ridiculous, ain't it?
That's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
But thanks so much, gents. Thanks for your time this evening. Really appreciate it. Thanks to everybody watching. We'll be back probably Sunday for a recap on the Forest game, and obviously talk about the semi-final first leg as well. Hopefully it'll be a good chat on that one. But I appreciate all the time you spent with us tonight. Really appreciate it. I'm off to see what the missus and the kids are doing. Hopefully the kids are asleep. I've been hearing some noises coming from upstairs, so God knows what's going on. And so we'll go and check that out. But appreciate your time, gents. Really appreciate it. Have a lovely rest of the week. And as always, keep it the Arsenal.
Newcastle, the central figure again. And he looks to trick Michael.